So today what we're going to look at is differentiation, and that's from the strand of maths, which is calculus. So there's going to be like a leaving cert question that could potentially come up. So you'll get given a function g of x equals x cubed minus 7x squared plus x minus 12. The first question that they usually ask at ordinary level leaving cert is just to find g of 5. Now, there's no differentiation being done here. You just have to sub in 5 everywhere you see an x. So you would say this is 5 cubed minus 7 times 5 squared plus 5, and you can put that in brackets if you like, minus 12. You get out your calculator and you would say this is 5 cubed. So you'd get 125. And then you're going to say this is minus 7 times 5 squared. And remember to keep your brackets, and that's going to be minus 175 plus 5 minus 12. So that would go to 125 minus 175 plus 5 minus 12. And you get given your answer of minus 57. And that will get you full marks in the first part of this question. Now, the second part of this question says, find the slope at x equal to 5. Now, with a curve, so this is going to be a cubic, so x cubed, you can also have an x squared. And if you're ever asked to differentiate these, or if you're ever asked to find the slope, that just means differentiate. Okay, so differentiate. So what you're looking for there is your g dashed of x. So find slope means to differentiate at x equals 5. That would then mean that you're finding your differentiated version, because it said find the slope of this at x equals to 5. So very similar to the previous question, except since it said find slope, that means you have to differentiate first. So g dashed of x, now we're going to go off this one. So this would be 3x squared. So 3x squared minus 7 times 2, so minus 14x. And then x differentiated will actually just go to 1. So there's an imaginary, kind of an invisible 1 there. This would multiply into the front where there's another invisible 1, we'll say. So that would just go to 1. So plus 1. So that was the first part. Now, your differentiated version, this is almost like an equation for the slope. Okay, this is an equation for your slope at any value of x. So it could be x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In this case, it's x equals 5. So you will say this is going to be 5 squared minus 14 times 5 plus 1. So that's going to be 3 times 25. So that's going to be 75. Now we can check that on the calculator. 5 squared, and that equals 75. So that was what we typed in. Then minus 14 times 5, and that will go to minus 70. And then you have plus 1. And you can type all this into your calculator. So what you're going to say there is you're going to say 75 minus 70 plus 1, and that will equal 6. So your slope, so that's kind of an m of 6, your slope of this cubic at the point x equals 5 is going to be equal to a slope of 6. And that would be your final answer to this. Now, the last one we're going to look at, find the max point of f of x is 3x squared minus 6x plus 7. Now again, this is a differentiation question. Now it doesn't say differentiate or anything like that, but this idea, max point or a minimum point, or sometimes you'll see them called turning points. But find the max point of f of x equals 3x squared minus 6x plus 7. Now, max point, you always let your first derivative equal to 0. Or we've also seen it before as dy dx equals 0. And then after you let that, you just solve. And you solve for your x value. So we will differentiate this. This will go to f dashed of x is equal to 6x minus 6. So that was 2 times 3, and then you have the 6. And according to my rule here, I let it equal 0. So that's 6x minus 6 equals 0. And then you get that 6x equals 6, and x is equal to 6 divided by 6, which in your header on your calculator will give you x equals 1. So that's going to be your x value. Now, it asks for a maximum point. Now, for a maximum point, we would always have an x and a y, so x comma y, and we've seen that loads. So we now know our x value is 1, but we need to find our y value. So how we do this is I'm going to take x equals 1, I'm going to bring it back up here to your function. Now, f of x is kind of a fancy way of writing y. So this could also be y equals 3x squared minus 6x plus 7, where I'm going to sub in my value of x equals 1. So that's going to be y equals 3 times 1 squared minus 6 times 1 plus 7. So that's 3 times 1, that's 3 minus 6 plus 7. You can get out your calculator, you can type it all in. 3 minus 6 plus 7, and that equals 4. So y equals 4. So my max turning point of this is going to be equal to 1 comma 4. And that would be your max. Now, in this particular case, it's actually, just looking at the question, it's actually going to be a minimum, but it will ask for your maximum or your minimum turning point, or just your turning point, and that will be the steps that we'd end up doing to get this. So the next question we're going to look at says to find the tangent of the graph f of x equals 4x cubed minus 3x squared plus x minus 7 at the point 1 comma minus 5. Now this is very much a 2 or 3 step process. So the first thing that we need to realize is whenever any part of maths they say find a tangent, you know a tangent is a fancy word for a line. It's a type of line. So the equation that you're going to need is the line equation of y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. Now that's in your log tables, but whenever you see a tangent, we'll also see it in the circle. But for the moment of differentiation, we will see it, and it's y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1, where y1 and x1 are the coordinates of the point, and m is our slope. Now, we're going to use something that we've previously done in this video, and that is finding the slope of a curve. So we actually want to find the slope of this at the point 1. So again, first step, and we're going to have to notice in our own head, we want to find the slope of f of x. Now, how do we find the slope of something? Find the slope means differentiate. So let's differentiate f of x to be f dashed of x equals, and we will get 3 times 4, so that'll be 12x minus 6x plus 1, and that's that differentiated. So just remember that the 7 just disappears, it will just go to 0, and the x will just go to 1. Now, that is it differentiated. So let's find the slope of f of x at this point. So remembering, this is your x value, this is your y value. So what do we sub in? Well, we'll sub in 1, which is our x value, to find the slope at that point. So this would be f dashed of 1 equals 12 times 1 minus 6 times 1 plus 1. And we'll type all that into a calculator. 12 times 1 minus 6 times 1 plus 1. So 12 times 1 is minus 6 times 1 plus 1. That gives you 7. So what this means is on this curve, this curve would look like this. We have a certain point, and that point is 1 comma minus 5. Let's just say that point is here. And it means that the slope at this point, I'll do it with this one. The slope at this point is m equals 7, if we can get that, and then the point is 1 comma minus 5. So now we want to find the tangent. We are just going to use this equation with m being equal to 7, with x1 being equal to 1, and with y1 being equal to minus 5. So let's come down here a little bit and we'll multiply that out. And that will be y minus y1 minus minus 5 equals 7 into x minus x1, which is just 1. So that would be y plus 5 equals 7x, 7 times minus 1, minus 7. And we'll just put that in the form y equals mx plus c. So that would be y equals 7x. And then minus 7 minus 5. There we go, y equals 7x. Minus 7 minus 5 is going to give us minus 12. And that would be your answer. Now, we can look back over that and we can see where we're at with it. But the main thing with this is sometimes you will be asked to give your answer in a certain format. So this is in the format y equals mx plus c. Other times we'll be asked to give it in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0. Now, if you are asked to do it in this format, it is still quite easy. So we'll just say This is your ax, so that's 7x, plus by, so the y would come over the other side, so that would be minus y, and then minus 12 equals 0. So both of these are actually telling me the same thing, just one of them is in y equals mx plus c, one of them is in ax plus by plus c equals 0. And you'll be told in the question which format to give it in.